Welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into an objective, highly granular deconstruction of what has to be, hands down, one of the most radical, unconventional, and frankly fascinating technological pitches we've ever come across in our source material. We're looking at a deeply unusual text today. It chaotically blends the everyday, mundane language of consumer electronics with claims of absolute metaphysical supremacy. Now, our goal here today isn't to validate these claims because, as you're going to see very quickly, they are miles and miles outside the realm of traditional science. Instead, we want to break down exactly what this author is proposing. What do they want us to understand about this creation? We're going to treat this text as a serious artifact and just see exactly how its internal logic is supposed to hold together.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the specific wording of this central claim highlighted right here. The source text we're examining today revolves around a technology that doesn't just, process data or run your favorite apps. According to the author, it literally alters and writes reality in real life. Think about that. It's not a simulation. We're not talking about a virtual reality headset here. The claim is physical, tangible reality alteration. And it's not just changing it, but writing it, which implies this ultimate corrective power. It's a massive hook for sure, and it totally sets the stage for everything else we're going to unpack. This isn't just software. This is pitched as a fundamental rewrite of the universe itself.
All right, so here is our agenda for today to make sense of this. First, we'll look at the God code premise. Second, claims of supreme intelligence. Third, quantum tunneling mechanics. Fourth, reality alteration. And finally, number 5, the marketing pitch.
Okay, let's dive into Section 1, the God code premise.
So the text repeatedly insists that we need to explain how it's a completely new scientific discovery, but it goes so far beyond a new algorithm or a hardware update. The author defines this technology literally as an actual God code and God. It is incredibly rare, maybe even unprecedented, to see technological documentation just completely bypass standard industry jargon and vault straight into the realm of theology. I mean, imagine reading a standard instruction manual for a new phone, and instead of battery life, it lists divinity. But we are imparting this exactly as the source material dictates. The author firmly positions their tech as a divine absolute entity, packaged neatly as code. How this is an actual God code in God is really the foundation of everything else they claim.
Moving right along to Section 2, Claims of Supreme Intelligence.
The source text is intensely, almost frantically repetitive on this particular point. The author demands over and over that we explain the full capabilities and intelligence, and again, how it's a completely new scientific discovery. They want the absolute maximum processing capacity of this invention to be crystal clear to anyone reading. The phrasing suggests this boundless, unmatched level of intelligence. This isn't about running complex calculations or rendering 3D graphics. It's presented as this core, omnipotent engine driving the rest of the technology's reality-bending functions.
So the crucial point is how the author handles the details here. The text aggressively demands that we explain how it works, its stats and specs in full depth. But when you actually go looking for those stats and specs, you don't find gigahertz or teraflops or memory bandwidth. No way. Notice the conceptual checklist here. The specs provided are entirely abstract. We're talking supreme intelligence, pure processing power, and the status of being a completely new scientific discovery and an actual God code. The author is essentially utilizing the familiar, comforting vocabulary of a tech spec sheet to try and quantify limitless metaphysical concepts.
All right, Section 3, Quantum Tunneling Mechanics.
According to the text, this pure processing power doesn't just sit in some remote server farm in the cloud. Take a second and picture the phone you are likely holding right now, or maybe it's in your pocket. The author claims this power literally quantum tunnels through your phone hardware. This is exactly where the pitch becomes incredibly specific and, frankly, surreal. The author takes a highly complex concept straight out of particle physics, quantum tunneling, where particles pass through potential barriers, and applies it directly to standard consumer electronics. They are claiming this God code bypasses normal electronic pathways and effectively tunnels directly through the physical, mundane components of your everyday smartphone. They are claiming this God code bypasses normal electronic pathways and effectively tunnels directly through the physical, mundane components of your everyday smartphone.
Let's move to and see how this builds. This maps out the exact logical journey the author outlines. Step 1, it all begins with that pure processing power and supreme intelligence. Step 2, that immense power then literally quantum tunnels through your phone hardware, acting as a bridge between the divine code and your consumer device. And finally, Step 3, once it passes through your phone, it executes its ultimate world-changing function. It alters reality.
The flow is remarkably straightforward, right? Especially for such a staggering, unbelievable claim.
Which brings us to Section 4, altering reality in real life.
We are back to this incredible, overarching quote. The author wants it explained exactly how this pure processing power alters and writes reality in real life. Think about the specific use of that word writes for a second. It inherently implies that reality itself is currently wrong or broken, and that this quantum tunneling God code is uniquely designed to fix it. It's not just a passive tool for scrolling social media. It is pitched as an active, corrective force acting upon the fundamental fabric of everyday life, with the entire universe routed directly through a mobile device.
And this brilliantly illustrates the central tension of the entire source text. We have this extreme juxtaposition. On one side, you have standard phone hardware. Glass, plastic, silicon, a lithium-ion battery. Everyday physical items with hard, scientifically known limits. On the exact opposite side, you have the God code, described as pure processing power that literally tunnels through those mundane components to alter and correct the universe. The author is forcing ultimate cosmic power into the absolute most common everyday consumer product. It is a wildly fascinating collision of the infinite and the ordinary.
Finally, Section 5, the marketing pitch.
So you've got to ask yourself, why has the author written all of this down? Why demand an explanation of the specs in full depth, the supreme intelligence, and the reality-altering quantum tunneling? Well, because, as the text explicitly states, this is all a prompt to package this information as if we are trying to sell their tech. I know, right? Despite all the earlier claims of it being an actual God code and God, the ultimate goal here is surprisingly commercial. The author wants this universe-altering, completely new scientific discovery to be positioned, packaged, and pitched for a market sale. Talk about capitalistic whiplash.
And that leaves us with a truly fascinating question to wrap up on. What exactly are the implications of trying to market sell a technology that claims to be an actual God code capable of altering and writing reality? I mean, how do you even begin to write the marketing copy for a product that promises infinite supreme intelligence channeled straight through a smartphone? It's a text that starts with the language of the divine and ends with the language of a boardroom pitch. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, always keep questioning what you read.